and John Kennedy Jr. say many of the items are too personal and they want them returned. The collector who is auctioning them received the memorabilia from Evelyn Lincoln. She was President Kennedy's longtime personal secretary. The Kennedy children say Lincoln betrayed them and the public trust. Vice President Al Gore has a few suggestions for making the IRS more customer-friendly. 200 of them, in fact. The proposals are part of a report Gore will release this afternoon called Reinventing Service at the IRS.
Kennedy children and the owner that was putting them up for auction, there were a few of the items that were returned to them, and so there are still many, there were only, I think, 20-some items that were given back to the National Archives, and just a handful to the Kennedy children. There are many more that are here that will go up for auction here shortly. In fact, I can show you a few of them. The pens that were used by President Kennedy to sign landmark legislation. Also, a number of photographs. There are memos here. Many of these items collected by Kennedy's personal secretary, Evelyn Lincoln. One of the items that is going to go back to the Kennedy children as part of the agreement. Journals, they are in a wooden case here. They are journals that were written by John Kennedy back in the 1950s. Those in a clock that was in a private office outside the Oval Office. Those among the things to be returned to the Kennedy children. But there are a number of other items. In fact, Arlen Ettinger is the president of the auction house that's handling this. One of the items that is here is the briefcase. It is President Kennedy's in fact, one that he bought back in the 1940s. One of the more important items here?
Absolutely, because not only is it a fine briefcase, but you can see the love that he had with this briefcase. He repaired it. He carried it throughout his career. Clearly, he could have afforded a new one every so often, but this one developed a patina that I can understand, that it just traveled with him everywhere and is an important item.
It's one I understand that even when it was damaged, he had it repaired because he did not want to part with it and was carrying it in Dallas in 1963.
I believe that's correct.
These are some of the items that his personal secretary, Evelyn Lincoln, has, through Robert White, that she willed her possessions to, her collection to. These make up many of the items that are here today for auction, aren't they?
The Evelyn Lincoln inheritance contains perhaps 40% of the auction.
Who are the kinds of people? What is the type of person here that is going to be bidding who wants these types of Kennedy items?
From what we gather, it's people that had great love for the president, remember the inspirational days of the early 60s when he created the Peace Corps, helped bring down racial barriers, and have wonderful memories now that our generation, and I'm one of them, is getting on in years, and maybe it's an opportunity to hold on one last time to some exciting times.
Ettinger, if you step back for just a second, I think we can see there is a variety, everything from a lighter with John Kennedy for president to boxes, photographs. There is quite a variety in this auction, isn't there?
This really is a sort of people's auction, if you will, because although we have very expensive items such as his first sailboat and also the presidential yacht, the Honey Fitz, there are also objects that the average person might expect to be able to purchase. It's an auction, and it'll go on not only today, but tomorrow as well.
Including doodles that the president made, notes he made during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the first attempt at writing an inaugural address, all here today.
Yes, even slice-of-life notes such as Jackie Kennedy writing to Evelyn Lincoln, "Dear Ev, the next time the president next time you put a stack of bills in front of the president for him to sign, would just shove these two in there. He always gets so annoyed when I spend too much, but I promise I'm going to change my spending habits," showing that although on one level they existed in a world of Camelot, they were very much human beings that you and I can understand. They were important, but they were also loving parents, and you know, that's very clear from the items in this auction.
Stradinger, thank you very much. Among the items for auction, in fact, one of them that has a rather large display up at the front is a Cartier watch. It was a watch that Jacqueline Kennedy gave to President Kennedy on their 4th wedding anniversary. It is a watch that he was wearing when he was killed in Dallas, Texas. There are photographs. There is a case. The watch is in a case, and that is one of the items, one of nearly 600 items that are up for bid today. Natalie?
All right, Tony Clark in New York. Lou?
U.S. Border Patrol